Hi everyone, thanks for joining us tonight. It's David from Team TFC, and it's my pleasure to have Stefan from Foudre, who's one of the admins of the team, and I've also got Vincent Davis from Cryogen, who's leading up one of their ACAT teams tonight. As you know, we're racing tonight on the Yorkshire UCI course. Pretty killer climb a couple of times around, and a pretty unrelenting course as far as I'm concerned. So hopefully some pretty good action ahead of us. We also have one of my own teammates, Nick Nellis, who we may drop in on at some stage just to see how he's getting on in the race. But with that, thanks for joining us, and just Vincent, why don't you just say 30 seconds before you start off racing? Not long to go before your race start here, I guess.
Yeah, 50 seconds here. I really didn't get much of a chance to look at the course. I guess I'm kind of hoping to stay on for that first early on and maybe see how I do at the KOM.
Nice. And Stefan, anyone we should be watching out for from Foudre in the ACAT tonight?
From the ACAT, I would watch clearly for Florent Maillard, which is probably our strongest riders in Team Food. And there is some kind of black horse that could be hiding in the pack and at the last moment trying to do some good things, but it will depend because the race is I find the race very hard. It goes up and down a lot and it requires a lot of energy to deal with.
And I guess the ACAT guys are already heading out the pen, so quite a big effort needed to stay with it at the front. And one of the things to always consider in this course, I think, is it's not that long before you're already heading into quite a tough little climb after you get past the start-finish banner and roll out of the centre of the town. So pretty big watts already being kicked out, 440, 450 from Glen just to stay with it at the front of the race. As they all get going, and we'll jump between the other cats, we've got the A cat, the B cat, and the C cat that we can follow today. I just wanted to give a quick shout out on how this series works. So we've basically got a pretty good competition going on here where people can hopefully have a really good individual competition. We're also hoping to have a really good team competition. And that's why I've very much got Cryogen and Foudre with us tonight to commentate on this. So the way it works is each race, we're running 6 races. There's 60 points up for grabs for the winner, 55 for second place, 50 for third, and then the points start to trickle down, but all the way down to 50th place where we will award additional points for it. So really trying to incentivize to get as many teams as possible competing. And then award those that really do well at the front of the race, and really pleased with the numbers tonight. I think we've got over 400 across all 4 or 5 categories racing. So when it comes to team competition, there will be points awarded across each category. Those will then sum up and will come with the team competition. As it stands today, hopefully you've already seen in some of our posts, but at the front of the race we've got Team TFC are slightly ahead in the team competition, closely followed by Cryogen, and then Foudre just behind that. So it's still all tight, all to play for. We still have 5 races to go, and hopefully we'll get some great action tonight. Particularly on this course where it's quite hilly and quite a few climbs. As you can see, even to stay with the front, people are still pushing out over 400 watts after a minute, 2 minutes of racing almost gone. I know by now I certainly would have been dropped. Stefan, I just wanted to, whilst we see the peloton start to settle down, hopefully in a minute or two, I wondered if you could just give us a little background to Foudre, where the team came from, and how you got to be where you are in one of the bigger teams now in Zwift.
So I created the Team Food about 2 years ago, and I created this one because in the French community there was just one French team, and this one wasn't very active, so I decided to create one that was at least more active than the previous one. And little by little we decided to grow up and to create to give to the French community more social interaction between riders, because even if Zwift is good, I think it's having a lack of social interaction outside the software. So Team Food was there, and a lot of people started to join it, and we decided to grow up little by little. The main objective of the Team Food was to help people to find motivation to stay in Zwift and keep training again and again. Sorry, I just stopped because I find that it's been like 3.5 minutes and people are still smashing like 250, 300 watts. It's very, very hard.
It's one of the things that I still remember. It's a really, really hard course. The last time I raced this, I think the last time I did race it, I was lucky, and it was a team time trial, so there was plenty of people taking turns on the front. But just to flag up at the front, in terms of the race, we've got Brett Boniface, who came third last week. There's a few of the kind of familiar names up there. Our own Jesse Dawson from Team TFC, who has been taking part in some of the Pro-Am races as well. So I'd love to say things are starting to settle down, but I definitely wouldn't be holding on in this peloton myself. And just for anyone who's watching, Vincent had told us beforehand that he was going to take it easy tonight. He clearly threw that out the window pretty quick. So, but it does seem to be settling down a little bit for our own Nick, who's
the back is like he's shredding.
Yeah. Packs in the car back.
Where are you sitting?
The pack is shredding in many pieces.
Where are you sitting, Vincent?
At 30 seconds.
Hard work out there.
30 seconds.
So if we take a quick jump over just to see, I think there's already been a bit of action in the BCAT race. So if we jump over there for now, it looks like we've already had one person try to break away off the front. Just trying to make out who that is. They're going to get caught pretty quickly on this climb. But as usual, you're seeing quite a lot of names up the front there, both Foudre, Cryogen pretty well represented, and quite a few TFC jerseys up there. So it's looks pretty strong and pretty intense race up the front of the B as well. Still some pretty tough watts out there as well, over 4 watts per kilo for most of the guys still hanging with it at the front of the course. Looks like things should settle down a little bit. We're about to head into a little bit of a descent after they come over this climb on the B race. Get hopefully a bit of a breather, and then not too long we'll be coming to the KOM section, which is something we've really tried to make a bit more interesting in the championship. So there's extra points available for the top 3 finishers over the KOM. So whoever gets the fastest time, the 3 fastest times up the KOM on both laps, first person will get 7 points. Second place will get 5 points, third place will get 3 points. So for someone trying to go after the overall GC, and also for those at the front of the team competition, this could be some pretty valuable extra points, particularly if you're one of the top 5 finishers for your team. So pretty strong riding there. I think you're seeing things start to settle down a little bit at the front of the B as they came over that little climb, starting to get a little bit of respite. And if I jump back, it looks like in the ACAT race as well, things are starting to take a little bit of a breather as they do start to come down that descent as well. Looks like
they're doing a little coasting right now. It's a nice relief.
Looks like Boniface has been dropped off the back of the peloton though. He's having to put in quite a big effort to get back on over 11 watts per kilo, just to try and hang with it at the front of the peloton. Not sure he's going to make it actually. Looks like he's easing off a little bit as they come into the climb. Wow, there's a bit of a turn up for the books for someone who had been right up at the front of the race in last week. As I say, came third. Now getting dropped from the team. So if we jump back up to the peloton, it's still a pretty big bunch. I think there's about 60 of them up there still, making it hard out there for most of the teams. And apologies if I'm looking away from the camera quite a bit. I've got quite a few different screens to try and keep track of the action. How's it going now, Vincent? Things starting to calm down?
Well, a little bit more reasonable. Kind of using my heart rate as a gauge. I'm down below threshold finally. But still kind of surging a little. here and there.
Where are you sitting in the pack at the minute?
25th, but pretty close to the front, looks like. I'm at 300 watts. My FTP is about 265, so I'm over the limit.
Yeah.
Just trying to sit in.
It looks like we've whittled the bunch down quite a bit up at the front. For 112 people that were in it at the start, it looks like there's probably only, 50 or 60 people still hanging in there. I would assume people take a little bit of a breather because it's, as I say, not too much longer to go until they really start to attack the KOM and go after the climb. But a lot of the teams well represented up there between CryoGen, CFUW, TRL members as well, and quite a few Food Ray members as well. So I think it'll be a pretty tough race, this one.
It's a bit calm because thanks to the downhill, people have a bit of rest. Sure, the next climb is coming very fast, so every bit of downhill is very important to take advantage of it.
Yeah, this is where the strong riders are trying to keep the weaker ones at their limit. I'm just below threshold heart rate, so I'm not getting much recovery. Try to coast here. But the strong riders are trying to keep the pace high, so riders like me don't get much recovery.
I remember them doing that to me in the BCAT races as well, just at a slightly different wattage level. And if we jump back in, just take a quick look at the B race. Looks like they're starting to calm down as well, coming up to a little crest. Really looks like things have whittled down quite a lot in the B. There's a few different groups breaking up in it, but quite a few of the same teams represented. A few DBR riders up there as well, a few KC riders. Be good to see a few more of them taking part in the competition as well, just to get a couple of the other big teams. But I can still see probably a good 6 or 7 CryoGen riders up here right at the sharp end. Looks like sadly TFC's thinned out a little bit in the front group. I can still see 2 or 3 shirts in there. Bob Orr is pretty strong from our team, and Nick Bunyard, officially a triathlete, but we're trying to convert him and get him into a stronger bike place as well.
David, there is an attack on the A-Cat. There is two riders from the team food, Speaky, Maxence Janaudet and El Faco.
Wow. That was a big, strong move.
Faco is Florent Maya. He is our leader. He's trying to smash it. Recently, he did on the Bologna TT. He did under 13 minutes. Wow. So he's really going hard these days.
Yep. Yeah, it looks like he's broken away from everyone at this point. He's definitely going for the bonus points as well.
I think he's going for the bonus point. Yeah.
I just hope he doesn't get caught too quickly, because someone that started off in the draft might just have a faster time over this. Oh. Well, definitely first over the KOM. Looks like the pack is definitely strung out a lot. Let's see how much it comes back together on the descent here.
Maybe there will be a breakaway. Do you think it would be possible?
Looks like we're starting to get a group of maybe 4 or 5 people coming together.
No, they're going to be catch.
Yeah, it looks to me, just looking at the map, it looks like there's about 6 or 7 of them might come together, and then there's quite a big gap behind that. Maybe it's more than I think. That's what 1, 2, maybe about 10 riders, 10, 12 riders.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's quite a big break. It was about 60 of them when they started up the KOM.
Work together. If they work together, they can do very well.
Yep.
And grow up a nice gap. They already have 10 seconds.
Yep, definitely. And if we just jump briefly, you can just see the BCAT riders are well into their KOM ascent as well. There's a couple of guys off the front look to be pushing a slightly surprising watts for a BCAT. See how many of them stay in the standings at the end, as is my joy when the race finishes. But well represented from some of the big teams up there as well. Andy Robinson from TFC, who won the race last week. Very, very strong and very, very tight sprint finish to claim that one. And I think and quite a few CryGen members still very, very well represented up at the front of the B race as well. Looks like Foudre's thinned out a little bit, unless I'm missing jerseys up here on this one. A few Vikings members. There's one, Yannick Blaze, seems to be still up here from Foudre. So still well represented. I'm pretty sure Jack Beveridge, who's off the front, is not going to be still there when I get through the results though. So I hope to see people let him go. Looks like Frenrir from Vikings was certainly the first up the KOM. Looks like the fastest time though was CryGen. Didn't quite see the name, but I'm guessing it might have been Matt Taylor from where he finished. Was also a very strong rider last week. Sounds like quite a lot moving in the A race with Vincent. Pushing hard there, Vincent group trying to come back together.
Yeah, trying to catch these three. Then we get 5 of us together. Right steady. Hard going. I'm a little bit better of a time trial effort. I got popped bad on the climb.
Yeah.
Sitting 45th now.
You still with us, Nick? Can you hear us? You might need to unmute yourself, Nick, to give us a little chat. No, Nick's way too hard in concentration. I'm not quite sure where he is in the race. We're still sticking with the front of the ACAL race, but it looks like we do have a pretty good group forming here now with a few Foudre members in there from what I can see. Bovin up there along with Falco, who obviously helped make the break. Still got one TFC member up there. Few SZ members who've been making a pretty good showing at the front of the ACAT in the series as well. So pretty strong effort from them so far, and particularly in the ACAT race. At least Falco's making it easy for me to follow the front of the ACAT race. There we go, confirmation. It looks like Falco did get the fastest time in the first lap up the KOM. Closely followed by Boniface, who missed it on camera, but he must have made quite a big effort to get back into the group on that climb. Because he'd certainly been dropped by a good 5 or 10 seconds in the way into it. And it looks like this group now has about 30 seconds on the rest of the chasing crowd behind them. So it seems like this is definitely quite a telling break in the front of the A race so far. Have you managed to count how many Foudre members you've got in there, Stefan?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
You managed to count how many Foudre members you've got up the front?
In the first group?
Yeah.
I think we have like 7. 5. 5, sorry.
I haven't managed to see if Simon Nielsen, who I think won the race last week. I haven't been able to see him so far. So sad if he has managed to make it to this week. But Dropout's definitely very, very strong up the front as well. They've managed to get the Swift Power Live scores going in. Seems like Dropouts have 4 people up the front in the front group at this stage. We've got 2 from CryGen, as you say, 5 from Foudre, and 1 person from Team X at this stage. So pretty tight racing up here, but pretty much everyone in that front group has hit north of 300 watts so far to stay with it, and an average of close to 4.5 to 5 watts per kilo. So hopefully at some stage I might hit those numbers myself, but might be a long way in my future. So, and it seems like Remy's giving good support on the chat, on the comments to Foudre. See if Faco can hold on to the end. And if we...
David, do you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you, Stefan.
Yeah. I was just looking at Swift Power. That's very impressive. That in 17 minutes, all the first group is averaging like 300, 320. Some people even average 380. That's very impressive. People's averaging like at least 4.5 watts per kilogram. it's very, very impressive. The level very had increased since the outbreak of the coronavirus. How do you think about that?
Yeah, it's definitely shaking things up a little bit in terms of the number of people on Swift. I think they've taken a bit of effort to get the servers to cope with the amount of riders on the field. And I think there's definitely a lot of people having to work out partially what categories mean when you look at some of the people that end up in certainly the C and the D cat races that are certainly much stronger than need to be in there. But I think it's been impressive to see some of the expansion in the A-Cat races, as a lot of people that are probably more used to racing outdoors, having not really any choice right now but to come racing indoors. I know I myself race in real life for CC London, and it's been good to see a lot of them sort of getting a bit more involved in Zwift and different championship. I think it definitely takes a bit to learn and understand what's going on and how to really compete in a Swift race compared to.
Yes, exactly. There is a. No, I don't know if you had heard about that in the English community, but some of pro French rider tried Zwift, and some people got like crushed by some Zwifters, and these pro guys were like, yeah, if you go Zwift, you're just a cheaters, and some videos appeared on internet about some pros showing how you can cheat on Zwift, and it started to give a bad image, a bad picture about what Zwift is. So I'm a bit sad of how fast it grew up.
Yeah, I think it's true. I did watch. There was a video. I don't know if you've seen the Lanterne Rouge, his latest interview that he did with Jack Haig, and I thought what was quite interesting there was because he was being asked the question of how fair is it that you get a lot of these people who, pro cyclists from the World Tour that are getting beaten by effectively amateurs on Zwift. And he made the point that, for someone to have a 20-minute FTP of whatever, you can get to over a 20-minute period really good watts and be incredibly competitive on something like Zwift in racing. But when it comes to real-world racing, it's a totally different field. One, watts per kilo doesn't matter. Bike handling's a lot more important, and there's a lot more to racing than just power and watts. And I think it's true in Zwift. There's a lot more than just watts. There's a lot of tactics, and I myself find when I'm sitting in a B race, I can hang on to a front group that most riders may be doing 3.8, 3.9 watts per kilo.
Yeah.
Finding
your place inside the pack at the right wattage. So it's very important to be to be attentive to every detail of the race.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm just seeing as that someone's gone off the front on the A-Cat race again. Just trying to see. It looked like there's someone that hasn't got off the line very quick, or
from Team Zwift Poland.
Yeah, that's it.
Pushing very, very hard. He's pushing very hard. 600.
Just trying to. There we go. Shift the view. Yeah, he's definitely made a bit of a break up the bump over the first bump before we come into the sort of rolling section of the course. I know I always find this bit pretty tough because it just doesn't really give you much of a break until you get to the proper descent that's coming up in probably 3 or 4 kilometers time. But if I just thought we should maybe check in and see the front of the B race for a second. We're still sitting here, still pretty tight in the bunch. I think there's still at least according to Swift Power, the front crowds whittled down to probably only I think 8 or 9 riders at this point, at least those that are registered on Swift Power. So definitely been quite a few bits that have broken up the course there. Looks like there's another group behind. That's probably about 8 or 9 riders that might try and close them down. Certainly as we come into the next climb, I think they might try and close that gap down. Maybe even do it now, because this is the bit that I've always found really hard about the course when you look at the B-Cat race, where they're just coming into that climb that the A-Cat's just crested. Really tough trying to start a race and then straight away be climbing at 3 or 4% for quite a long time. And just seen confirmation there that Alex Clare took the KOM on the first lap for Cryogen. So doing well, picking up some of the bonus points there for Cryogen in this one. It looks like from Foudre, I think we've still got Yannick Blaise up in the front group, and from TFC, Andy Robinson, who's got a pretty strong sprint in him. So as long as he can hang on the climbs, I'd certainly back Andy in the finish again at the end of the BCAT race. And maybe just check in on the CCAT riders as well. Looks like one guy's off the front in the... No, that's the ACAT race still. So if we go into the CCAT race, apologies, it's not quite as smooth on my Apple TV as the other ones, but it looks like in the CCAT race we've still got a decent bunch at the front, but 15 or 20 riders still together. Good representation from TFC in there. Mark Miller, who won the race last week, Lee Robinson, one of our strong younger riders, Guy van der Misem, and we've got Laurent and Julien Duhamel from Foudre up there, Romain Kimel up in that front bunch as well. So
they can do good things. Yeah, they are still four, unlike the B category, the food bumper. Just Yannick Blaise made it to the first group, and the rest of the pack of the food just fall in the second group. At like 25 seconds behind.
Yeah. I think
Cryogen is doing very well in the BCAT. Six people in the first group.
I think
Very
there are
impressive.
about 15 or 20, no, 25. They turned out in force tonight, you can say for sure. So definitely plenty of Cryogen members racing tonight. So great to see. Great to make a big competition for all of us to enjoy. So looks like the ACATs are also well into their second lap. If we jump back to the ACAT race.
The Polonian guys, Andrew Poksovko, just got coached by the pack, and they're coming.
Looked
He
like
was
he pulled it out
riding
to
like
7 or 8 seconds at one stage.
He was riding at 7 watts per kilogram, and he got coached like nothing by the pack, who was just barely riding at 2 or 3 watts per kilogram.
A big bunch on a descent soon catches you. I think that's where he got caught. They just came over the descent and sailed down pretty fast. So it looks like they'll probably settle in for a little bit, and then it'll be interesting to see who attacks. Do you think Faco? Sorry for my pronunciation. Do you think Faco has what it takes to get the second climb, get the KOM again?
I don't know. We know by experience that because we were doing the Frenchy Fusion leagues previously, and we know by experience that the best time are made in the first lap. So I'm not sure the team is going to try something in the second lap. Maybe if they feel good, and maybe try to get a better benefit from the draft, maybe they will try something. But that's not what I'm thinking would be the best things to do.
Well, I was feeling generous this week, so we made points available on both laps for the KOM. So independently, whoever's quickest up at this time will get another 7 points. So be interesting to see who goes for it, and I think you'll have a better chance this time, given how kind of rolling it is into the finish. If someone really can make a strong break, it'd be a good place to certainly split what remains of this bunch up. Looks like as they've come a bit back together, we've got Daniel Jamrozic, I think, has headed off the front.
He's trying to get away.
He's got about 7 or 8 seconds, I think, clear of the group. If I can catch up on him, 5 seconds now, I think.
It's very hard to get away from the pack. Very hard.
Yeah, definitely in the ACATs. Oh, looks like we can hear front something again.
Zwift. Yeah, what's great about Zwift here is I'm in a group battling for maybe 44th. I've got like 4 or 5 other teammates here, and I'm not on a Discord channel with them and can't communicate with them. But the experience you gain doing Zwift here is hopefully we understand we want to kind of keep the group together, or at least the 4 of us, so that we can work together for the finish or for the KOM. And as you learn racing Zwift, you learn that communication without even needing to communicate it directly. So you can gain tons of experience by doing this.
Yeah. What position are you sitting in these days, Vincent?
42nd.
Still,
We'll
so
probably
it's probably the second bunch then, or is it broken up into 3 bunches on the road?
Looks like there's one solo guy in front of us, and then a group of like kind of 3 sporadic. We'll probably catch them. So we'll probably end up in the second group, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if Fako is going to try something. Looks like he's answering every attacks. He just answering from Vaeng and now from Boniface. So maybe he's trying to get a good position and attack at the last moment. Maybe.
Well, he's definitely sitting there right at the front, leading them into the KOM again.
Yeah.
So let's see how the ACATs manage to, what power levels they're hitting up the KOM this time. I think it was quite a few. Were sort of 6 or 7 watts pretty consistently for a long way up at the first time around.
They're going much more easier than the previous lap.
So looks like Fako was starting to make a bit of a break there. Looks like the Polish rider's starting to come through the crowd as well to try and take up a place. Looks like Boniface is going for it again. No? Maybe? Yep, there he goes. 13 watts per kilo.
He attacked. When you fast, yeah.
He definitely wants the bonus points this time around.
Fako is following.
So we're not going to be able to tell who was fastest on the second lap because Swift will just combine the times for both laps. So obviously didn't think he would hang on to it that time. Brett, he's let the crowd swallow him up again pretty quickly.
Oh, maybe they're trying to get it away.
Yeah, it's really hard to try and break away on a descent though.
Yeah, they're trying to push very hard to take some speed, and then they're taking.
Guess we'll jump back and just see how the B-Cats are getting on as they look like they're just about to start coming around to just coming into the end of the descent. Still looks like in the B-Cat we've got a pretty tight bunch up the front. Still a decently sized bunch.
Yeah, 10 people at the first.
Yeah.
Nick's right up here with me.
Nick's giving it a good effort tonight. So you guys are sitting, it looks like on Zwift Power you guys are sitting around 44th, 45th place.
Yeah.
Looks like you've got a bunch of TFC riders around you, Vincent.
Yeah, and Cryogen. We're going to smear them.
I wonder who gets the sprint out of your group. I'll try and catch it before the B-Cats roll in.
For the B-Cat, there is a breakaway of 10 people, and then after there is a big bunch of 26 people. I don't know if the first group will be able to go to the finish, or they will be going to be catch. And that would be very interesting to see that.
Yeah, I think knowing the caliber of some of the riders that are in there, because I've raced with quite a few of them, I think they'll probably hold it. And it doesn't look power-wise like there's too many in the second group really trying to chase it down. Which, to be fair, I think between Foudre and TFC, there probably should be a bit more of a concerted effort to chase it down because both of us only have one rider up the front and there's 3 cryogens. So if only I had my DS hat on to give them a bit of a shout. So we can just see now the B-Cat riders are starting to really attack and make their way decent way up the KOM now, just coming up into towards the final bit of it. Had one person I think really attacking it from early on. Haven't quite caught his name yet on the list. Looks like Yannick's well up there as well, and Andy Robinson's still hanging with it closely. Doesn't seem like anyone's really gone too aggressively. Looks like Yannick's going for it again. He's making an effort, looks like, to try and get the bonus points. Being watched pretty closely by Alex Clare from Cryogen. He's pushing on. Clearly wants to get over the line first. Andy Robinson making a bit of an effort there as well. Looks like Cryogen got over the line first, but let's see where they were in terms of times. Definitely slower on the second lap than they were the first time around. It seems like some of those legs are definitely feeling the effort they've made so far. Just quickly check in and see where the CCAT riders are in terms of getting up to the finish. Looks like conveniently I managed to pick more or less the front of the CCAT race. Looks like our only Robinson's still hanging in strongly with the front group. Quite a big group at the front of the CCAT race still. Looks like there's a good 20 riders in there. 3 food ray, 3 TF, or 5 food ray actually. Hard to count when things are moving in front of your eyes. A few riders in there that my hammer might need to catch after the race though, with an A+, 2 Bs and an A sitting in the front group. So hopefully at some stage some of the people that have recently joined will catch on how the categories work in Zwift. But if we jump back to the ACAT race, can't be too much longer to go.
I'm at 2.6K. My group.
Cool. Yeah, looks like they're already coming up the final climb. Is that? Yep, 7-8% coming into the final finish. Wonder who's gonna make the breakaway on this. Oh no.
The ACAT is pushing very hard.
This is where it gets confusing.
My group back here is taking a break. I'm pretty comfortable.
Boniface is going very hard.
Trying to catch him.
He just passed Davis.
Did he catch it at the end? I managed to lose.
Yeah, but
lose
I think if I have Boniface made it first, followed by Davis.
I managed to jump to the wrong rider. Just waiting on the results to catch up on Zwift Power. See if I can find the next group on the road. I think I've been dropped out of the event. No.
I'm at 1K to go. The 4th group on the road. I think the groups in front are small.
Yeah, I've got dropped out of the 8K race. I'll try and find you, Vincent. There we go. I think I found your group there. So you're just coming up to the final, about to come onto the final turn and then up to the final climb.
Good luck,
It's quite a big group.
Fischer is starting to push hard. Marta Shields, 9 watts.
Tommy Sellers from TFC pushing on up there as well. I'm not going to try and change because I'll just end up dropping the race.
From very far.
Go on, Vincent.
Martin Shields is getting away. Steph May is leading. Steph May is leading. No, I just got past.
It looks like Glenn's made a big effort to go for it. Has he gone too early?
Victory for TFC. Martin.
Looks like Martin just got it.
Yeah, at the very last.
That was a big effort.
Congratulations, Vincent.
Let's go see how far back the... Looks like the B-car race has really started to take a bit of a breather here as well. Looks like they've settled into that group at the front, just taking it easy for a bit to conserve some energy before they come into the final kilometre.
For the A category, it's Brad Boniface that finished first, followed by Davis, then by Adam Pierzgza.
Yeah, big effort by Brett. I think he's definitely going to be top of the standings after that. I don't see where did the Foudre rider go? I'm not seeing him on live. Yeah, I'll wait on the official results. It looks like Faco is missing from the live results. But I'm sure he was still right up there.
Team tactics would have been good at that finish, having a rider or two attack.
Here we go. There.
1.5K and make a chase.
Sorry, Vince. So they're just starting off the sprint on the B-Cat race. Looks like we've got a couple of Cryogen riders making a big effort early on. Looks like Mike Taylor's leading them out at this stage. Matt Gunter right behind him. It's a strong train pushing on. Here goes Alex Clare for the sprint finish. Looks like he's got it fairly comfortably. Yeah, pretty comfortably for that one for Alex Clare. And I think he got that one quite comfortably in the B race tonight. And I think hopefully we don't have too long to wait before the C-Cat riders are coming through. If we just jump back to them. Looks like we're just coming through the sprint banner. Might be another 3 or 4 minutes before the C-Cat riders come through. So looks like I'm gonna wait on the official results. Yeah, still not showing Faco on the ACAT results. I don't know what's happened there, Stefan. I assume he was still there at the end.
Is he in the filtered results?
I haven't got. I'm just looking on live. I haven't got official results yet. Which is why I'm sure he'll show up when we get to the end. Looks like things are heating up down the descent in the C-Cat race. Not too much longer to go. Nick, you there for a little chat with us? I think Nick, who's also just finished the C-Cat races. Nope, he's a bit busy. So in the C-Cat race, in the bunch at the front, quite a lot of TFC riders you've got in here. So we've got Lee Robinson, who's actually the son of Andy Robinson, who was in the front group of the B-Cat race. We've got Julien de Hamel, looks like from Foudre, Laurent there as well. We've got Mark Miller, who won last week's race from Team TFC and is a very, very strong finish on him. Lots of watts, but carries quite a lot of slightly heavier rider as well. So I think it'll be interesting to see how he does into the finish, whether he can hold on up the climb that we have for this finish. So I think should be a tight and close finish to this one between Mark and Lee. certainly from TFC, and I'm sure there's a few others in this crowd, given they've all hung on this long, 11 or 12 of them. So just another couple of turns to take, and then they'll be starting their way up that right-hand turn. And I don't know if any of you have ever been to Yorkshire. Me and a few of the TFC guys, we all met up for the World Championships last year, did a bit of riding around Yorkshire. It was a great weekend, but it definitely is an incredibly hilly place to try and ride. And yeah, I definitely didn't envy anyone whenever you see how steep that little kick was up to the finish line. I didn't sort of envy any of the official professional riders that really had to take the course on. So, but here we are coming into the final turn. You can see what they're classed as Zwift House on the left-hand side. Cold Bath Brewing Company. Looks like Lee's dropped off from the sprint. He's not pressing on for this one. Let's see how if Mark can hold on for it. Looks like it's reasonably measured in terms of power at this stage. They're all being quite cagey, not wanting to go too early. But starting to wind it up a little bit. Looks like Mark's starting to go. We'll follow a wheel. Looks like Mark's going, pushing 7 watts per kilo, 8 watts per kilo. Starting to press on. Let's see if he can hold on for this one. Looks like he's really pressing on hard. Can't really see if anyone's got his wheel at this stage. Will he hold it? Looks like he's got it. Oh, I think he had it. I think Mark had it. So some really good racing tonight. Look forward to working through the results. And I think by the looks of it, I think Cryogen have probably done pretty well in terms of overall score for this one, along with Foudre. I think you'll probably have definitely shaken things up a little bit at the top of the standings overall, and obviously we need to see where the D and E races come in some of the bonus points. But thank you very much to Vincent, thank you very much to Stefan for joining me tonight, and thanks to everyone for tuning in. Hopefully we'll get something intact to live stream next week, although I'm hoping to race next week myself as well, so it might be a little trickier. Maybe we can convince Nathan to take it on as well. But thanks everyone for joining us. Hopefully get the results posted up pretty soon. And yeah, have a good week. Thanks, Vincent. Thanks,
Thank
Stefan.
you.
Thank you, David.